Looking for music that lifts your spirit and fills your heart? Experience the powerful sound of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. Now streaming on all your favorite music platforms. Find the Tabernacle Choir on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Let the music of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square inspire you today and every day. Whether you're at home, in the car, or on the go, enjoy the beauty of their world-renowned sound anytime. The Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, streaming now.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Right? I've been on the Celtics for 9 years, and he was my teammate every single one of those. You understand throughout the course of a career that the NBA is a business, and people change teams and change coaches and front office, but it doesn't make it any easier. There's still a human element of it that you feel those emotions, the city feels those emotions, but there's also a side of, like, we have to welcome our new teammates.
That's Jason Tatum on not having Jaylen Brown in Boston. There's a human side.
Reasonable.
Even though change is constant.
Everything he said?
Yep. It's all true, right? We've seen it all. Players have to live it all. We've had other players say similar stuff in the past, and he's living it now.
Yeah. Nature of that business. Don't disagree with anything he said.
That'll be a good but not very good or great team next year. I mean, that is a big loss. But they have guys getting older.
I haven't analyzed their roster because it's not final yet. Let's see what they got once we get to October, and then if they make any moves at the deadline.
Jazz lost to the Spurs. Summer League action in Vegas. Darren Peterson, 15 points on 4 of 16 shooting. No Ace Bailey, no Cody Williams. They fall to the Spurs, 92-84. They got one more game coming up on Friday, and then they are done with Summer League. Not going to worry about his shooting percentage right now. We saw this with Donovan Mitchell when he came in the league, and you don't have very many options on that Summer League team, so he's going to be forcing shots. It ought to be totally different when he's out there with Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lowry Markkanen and Bailey and Keontae George and whoever else.
Are you trying to talk yourself into something here?
No, I'm talking myself into not worrying about how efficient a shooter he is until I see him with real NBA players and the ball can be shared and there ought to be open shots. Instead of there's nobody here and I'm going to have to try to force this up even if it's not a great idea.
And so Caleb Wilson has a bunch of NBA All-Stars on his team?
Nope. NBA is taking advantage of the World Cup final being in the New York area this weekend as they'll have a number of groups interested in owning teams. They'll play in the proposed new NBA European League, visiting NBA headquarters in New York City to talk about the latest developments and the next steps.
Good, and then drive over to New Jersey and watch the game.
Yep, there it is.
Never seen a state get so disrespected for stuff that is in their state that they keep saying the other state. Joke.
Stay in Manhattan and then drive over there to Jersey to see the game.
No, you don't want to stay in Manhattan unless you got your kind of money.
Well, I think all these European soccer teams have that kind of money.
You do?
I do.
Oh, I couldn't tell you one European soccer team anyway.
Manchester United.
Don't know anything about it.
Manchester.
One player, who the owner is, who the coach is.
Manchester, they're all worth $1 gazillion. They got the money.
They got tons of gazillion dollars?
Exactly. That's exactly what Man City has. It's Mideast oil money right there.
Mideast oil money.
Yeah. That's what it is. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Alvin Kamara's reworked his contract to remain with the New Orleans Saints. Former All-Pro back wants to retire as a member of the franchise. He will pair with Travis Etienne Jr. So Kamara is back.
Oh, that's it. Low South oil money.
Ha. And NFC.
That Bayou money.
Bayou. I like that. Bayou money.
Yeah, well.
NFC South.
You don't buy me, I buy you.
Oh, okay, nice. Just seg right into a Godfather line. I like it. NFC South, the door's open. See who wants to go to the playoffs. 10 wins ought to get it done. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said that the conference membership is unanimous in support of a 2014 college football playoff, but Miami coach Mario Cristobal made comments at ACC Media Days that he's not necessarily all in on the 2014 format after Miami made the national title game last year.
Well,
can't trust these commissioners.
Bob over there at Little Havana. He's got as much say as Cristobal does.
Yeah, right.
I guess it'd probably be Miguel over there.
Coaches can want whatever they want, but no guarantee, guys.
He has very little say in it.
No.
He's the guy who told us he hadn't had any conversations with Miami on Friday night after the Utes kicked the crap out of him, and on Sunday he was named the job, got the job.
Man, those were fast negotiations. They were really aligned. That was a beautiful thing. They must have been really aligned to turn that around in 36 hours or so. New Miami starting quarterback Darian Mensah, who ruffled feathers with his transfer from Duke to Miami, said that he was pulled towards Miami due to the success of Cam Ward and Carson Beck as transfer quarterbacks. They got a track record, building a rep. So he goes.
Cam Ward?
Mm-hmm.
Was Cristobal the coach, I guess, for Cam Ward? He'd been there a few years ago, I guess, by now.
Yes, I think he was. But
Cristobal was, Cam Ward, yes.
Carson Beck had big-time success.
They won, baby. Florida State wide receiver Deuce Robinson said the Seminoles feel the urgency to turn things around after 2 straight poor seasons. And head coach Mike Norville definitely on the hot seat after going 2-10 and 5-7.
It's funny in the college game, they won. That was NFL. You hadn't won nothing, but somehow Carson Beck won stuff. That's over now.
I think that comes down to a salary cap league. You got to at least get to the Super Bowl to be considered having won something or win the Super Bowl. But in college, where there are different teams and different leagues and different finances, depending on where you come in and what you've done in the past, if you do more than you used to do, you've won. As opposed to, if it were the NFL mentality, then it's like Indiana won and nobody else did. But there's an acknowledgement that some of these schools just have advantages: history, tradition, brand, money, league. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt in the seedings, all that kind of stuff. And Miami barely squeaked in, and then the fact they won 3 playoff games before Indiana beat them, it feels like they won. DJ and PK.
# Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball resuming tonight. One game. It's the Mets and the Phillies, 5 o'clock on ESPN. You like that? Your guys back at it. You only get one game. It's one of the 3 or 4 teams that's most important to you. Something you can. It's not some rando. It's something you can live and breathe. Mets versus Phillies.
Sure.
You'll feel
baseball.
that.
Yeah.
You'll feel it. Astros with a trade. They're sending right-handed pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. and left-handed pitcher Colton Gordon to the Milwaukee Brewers in exchange for Jaden Fielder. He's an outfielder DH prospect. He is the son of Prince Fielder. He is the grandson of Cecil Fielder. So, trade deadline looming. The first of how many deals?
No.
Time will
Fielder's choice. We'll see how it works.
Nice. DJ PK. The Open Championship underway. We got some guys in the clubhouse with good scores. A lot of people still playing at this point. Royal Birkdale, Southport, England. Daniel Brown in with a 66, 4 under par. He's got the clubhouse lead tied with Sung Jae Im, who also carded a 4 under 66. There's a group of players in at 67, including Robert McIntyre and Francisco Molinari, and another group at 68, including Henrik Stenson. So, a lot of guys. You've been watching on your computer there, PK. We got it on the TV now. See anything you like? Anything catch your eye?
Yeah, it's still too early.
Scheffler's out there. He's 3 under through 13. So is Bryson DeChambeau. To your point, a long, long way to go. Siwoo Kim, a guy that are pretty good odds on him. He's 2 under through 13 right now. We will talk more with Brian Taylor coming up in another hour. He's going to join us at 8 o'clock. And there'll still be people. They're golfing until like 1:30 this afternoon. So Ricky Fowler in the clubhouse after an opening round 71.
I don't know where Ricky Fowler is. I know he's done playing 18, but I couldn't tell you where he is right now. He may have gone to the local zoo. I know.
The local zoo?
Yeah. Check out the animals.
Nice. Think it's all imports? You think they're one of the zoos that Tucson has a desert wildlife museum? It's got all the local desert animals. What would you expect there at the Royal Birkdale Zoo?
Lions, tigers,
and bears,
elephants.
Oh my. Okay, all right.
Giraffes, monkeys.
Imported through from all over the world.
Snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Your regular zoo fare.
Snake house always creeped me out. DJ and PK. Argentina does it again. They give up a goal. They're trailing 85th minute. They score and tie it. 7 minutes later, they score and win it. They knock England out. England goes to the third-place game to play France on Saturday. Argentina goes to the final, and they will play Spain on Sunday. Messi assisting on both the goals. Again, they take it right down to the wire, but they find a way to get it done. Real Salt Lake's been off 6 weeks. For a long World Cup break, they had a tune-up last night. They beat Burnley 4-1. Serge Solon's the star of that game, scored twice, had an assist. Diego Luna added a goal. The final one on a penalty, and 4-1 they get the win. They will be back in MLS action Wednesday night at LAFC.
It doesn't say this on the...
Yeah, it's soccer at it anyway. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Breaking news coming up later today, probably about 11 o'clock. The NHL regular season schedule will be released. They, of course, tease us with a few games. The Mammoth home opener will be October 1 against the Chicago Blackhawks. Circle it at the Delta Center, which currently doesn't have an upper bowl if you drive by it at night. The concrete's gone. There's just beams. You can see from the street all the way into the bowl and up into the roof. It looks pretty weird right now. They've gutted it.
So you can't see it during the day?
It's a little harder to see in, glare off the windows,
Ryan
that kind of
Smith
stuff. But at night,
pictures of being in there, like the gondola view and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, these pictures of the construction are just fascinating.
Detroit Red Wings legend Steve Yzerman has stepped down from his role as executive vice president and general manager after 7 seasons running the team. No playoff berth in that time. He's going to remain on board as an advisor. There's what's trending, brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Brian Taylor coming up on the Open Championship at 8 o'clock. Andy Bailey, NBA analyst, writer for Bleacher Report. What has he thought of the young guys in Summer League? That's at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, we'll get to the question of the day next, right here on The Zone.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeComb.
Nobody cares about the score. Washington did beat the Jazz 92-88. AJ DeBonsa, his first game in Summer League, had some moments. Darren Peterson still put up the points, but not quite at the level and quite the efficiency that we saw in the 2 games in Salt Lake City. So everybody out there is like, oh, AJ won that head-to-head battle.
You've got to remove loyalty, which is hard to do. And I think in this case, there's a lot of people that are torn in this valley because, one guy, AJ, played here locally, and then obviously Darren being picked. So I just actually sat back like a coach would sit back, and I watched it. And I think what AJ showed is what AJ can do. Basically, on one end, AJ was kind of being AJ, and on the other end, Washington was hell-bent on not even letting him get a catch.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Question of the morning. Do you want Notre Dame to regularly play BYU? The overwhelming answer is yes. Sam, yes. Dennis, yes. Lane, yes. Matthew, as a Utah fan, this should be a no-brainer. Yes, every year, home, neutral, site, repeat. There's a few no's out there. Don says no, they don't honor their commitments. And Ken says, no, we don't need that loss. But it's overwhelmingly yes. Is the Cougar tail stale? Heck yeah, bring them on, says Aaron. Big games, PK. People crave them. And the Big 12 wants a wants a seat at the big boys table. Notre Dame's a big boy. If you get a chance to play him and beat him, you can't pass on that.
Yeah, but just because you get a chance to beat him, that doesn't mean you're going to beat him.
No, it doesn't. But you got a chance.
Right.
So take it. Take the swing.
The road easier traveled might be the better path, though. If you don't get the automatic bid. I mean, the reason why they got left out of the playoff was score. Not losing, but score.
Tech dominated them. They couldn't move the ball. Couldn't put points on the board.
It was like 63 to 14 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And that was their overwhelming metric in saying, well, man, they got dominated. So we've seen this has already happened. If you don't play the conference title game, sometimes that's better than playing it and getting destroyed as far as getting in. And so if Notre Dame, which obviously has the opportunity to be as big of a juggernaut as any school out there, and it looks like Freeman's got it going. We would agree with that, right?
Agree with that.
And he's young.
He's
so
young. He's
probably,
winning a lot. He could have.
He doesn't
a
want to go to the NFL. I don't think he's going to do Brian Kelly and take off. It seems like it's going to be Notre Dame or maybe NFL, and you never know what's going to happen, obviously. So for BYU, they have to ask themselves, yeah, it's cool to play them, but if you lose 47-10, that could be a negative against you. And so you have to wonder, is that really, it sounds good to play these guys every year, but is that truly in your best interest? Because last year, you might have gotten in if there was some kind of tiebreaker and you didn't win that to get to the playoff. And that's everybody's goal now is the playoff. The conference title, this is basically turned into basketball. And especially as they continue to expand, that it's okay, it's cool to cut down the nets because you won the title, but
the coolest thing is getting the automatic bid.
The NCAA tournament is where it's at. Oh, I don't.
I see what you're saying. I was talking football, but yes. The NCAA tournament is where it is at. And in basketball, you want to be in the tournament. And that's where we've gotten in football now as they've gone to 12.
Right.
You want to be in the tournament.
And we're going to expand.
It seems like just a matter of time.
Right.
I mean, these guys want to sit around and argue, so they sit around and argue.
Right.
But everybody knows they're leaving money on the table. And I think the Big Ten is just betting that the SEC will cave to the 24 rather than walk away from the money that they know they can get.
Seems that that's very logical, the point you make. So with that in mind, would it be easier? Rich Rod talks about, I want to play 3 dogs in non-conference. So that gets me 3-0. And then if you go 8-1 in conference, they talk about these things and strength of schedule and all that, but I don't think that in football it's really something that they practice what they preach. Plus, everything is so magnified because of what do they got? 68 teams or whatever they're doing now in college. And so if some power league team misses out, like, the only people who really care about are
is that
you.
school. Yeah.
That's nobody else. There's no discussion. It lasts for maybe a half an hour. Teams that got jobbed, and then they move on, right?
I think now, to your point, I don't even want to watch the show and hear about it.
Yeah.
And,
so many
they're going
chances.
from 68 to 76. Like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have lost 14 games.
Right.
I don't know. Find a way to lose 11 and get in.
Right.
I just think in football, where they play fewer games, it is clear that, and it may not be, here's your favorite word, fair, but it is clear nonetheless that the ACC and Big 12 aren't getting the benefit of the doubt, and the Big 10 and the SEC are. If you want to go 3-0 and be Rich Rod, if coaches say that and you're in the Big 10 or ACC, I assume as soon as I hear that, you're at a school where winning is tough and you want to have a good record so you can keep your job. And I don't begrudge you that. You know, Arizona, winning's hard at Arizona. It just is. And he wanted to do that. I get it. And maybe that'll help him keep his job.
I think winning's hard everywhere.
But if you want to go to the playoff, It looks to me like they're looking to find a reason to say no to Big 12
so why
and ACC
give them
schools.
that and get hammered by Notre Dame?
Because if you're not good enough, then you'll know because you got hammered. But if you don't want to be sitting there thinking we were good enough, but we didn't play anyone where we had a chance to prove it. If you play Notre Dame, you have a chance to prove it. Because I think to your point, more years than not, they're going to be a playoff team.
Sure. And you love history, and almost every time when BYU gets a big win, that team wasn't good that week. They make excuses. If they don't want to let you in the ACC and Big 12, they're not letting you in pretty much no matter what you do. The only teams that they've let in are the teams that they were forced to let in.
And that's why I think BYU should play Notre Dame, because I do think Notre Dame's going to be good, and I think it'll be very hard to say, well, they're no good. I'm already looking at the Big 12 schedule.
But they do. They've already done that 1,000 times for BYU. Everybody goes to Miami, and that's it. In the history of the program, they got one good non-conference win. That's it, which is a joke, but that's what they say. And now they're going to change that? No.
Because when Sarkisian quarterbacked and they beat A&M, and it was the kickoff classic, and the whole country was watching, and Musburger was here, and it was the biggest thing ever, and then A&M turned out to be a 500 team. To your early point about Notre Dame, I think that's one of the few programs we can count on right now that isn't going to turn into a 500 team. I think most of the time when you beat them, you beat a playoff team.
But yeah.
And if you can't beat them, then you can't get in. But I'd rather play him and take a swing. And I'm surprised you're taking the other side of this argument, because you're the king of be bold, go big, don't try to backdoor it.
But the conference will allow you big opportunities. I don't see them beating Notre Dame regularly. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see them beating Notre Dame regularly.
So this year BYU has how many big games? 2? 3?
I think they've got probably 10. I think
Now,
every
one of them
conference
is Notre
game is
Dame.
a big game, because that's the way to get the automatic bid. And
okay,
so,
but if they can't get the automatic bid, if they get the automatic bid, then nothing else matters. Fine, they're taken care of. But if you're trying to get in a large bid, how many games do they have that can help them do that?
Every one of them.
I don't buy that.
Okay, I'm not selling it, so it's not for sale anyway. You can purchase whatever you want. Because if it's not a big game, then go ahead to lose to that team. Kansas 2 years ago wasn't a big game, and they lost that game. How big was that? Turns out that was huge. It couldn't have been any bigger.
How many chances do they have to get a big win? It could be a big loss, but Kansas can't be a big win.
Here's the goalpost, and you put on your vest and your construction hat, and you just moved it.
What am I, one of the village people? Yes.
I've always thought so in many different ways, but that's another story.
Wow.
Don't lob it to me. At least.
But that's part of the show. Come on,
They're
man.
all big games, man. My gosh, as I said, Kansas kept you out. They were undefeated at that time, if I remember. Who thought going into that game, this is the most important game on their schedule? Turns out it was. So they're all huge games.
Any loss, because the playing field is tipped to the Big Ten and the SEC and away from the ACC and the Big 12, any loss is a big loss, but the win isn't a big win.
Any
because
love
all
is
they
good love, so
losses.
take what you can get. That's why you have to approach every game as it is a big game. Because if they would have just lost in that crazy Kenny Dillingham, too young of a head coach at the time, look at this stance right here.
Oh, my gosh. Who is that?
That's Hideki Matsuyama.
Oh, my God. He's in a pot bunker, and he was right up against the wall.
Holy smokes.
Off his knees.
He's on his knees. He's reaching down into the bunker. You can't see the ball or the sand. I mean, it's way down there.
He looks like a fraud.
Oh, and he's got his right leg is way behind him. You know what that pose is? It's that poster you see with George Costanza and he's got his shirt off, and he's trying to do some male modeling thing. It's that. His legs are way behind him.
That looked like a stretch you would do in
yoga stretch or a warm-up stretch. Yeah. And yet, you're right, Yak. That was a great shot. I mean, he gave himself a makeable putt. He got it out of the bunker on the green and reasonably close to the flag. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we had
replay that all day long.
Bob Casper talking about those pop bunkers and how difficult they are. And Matsuyama got in and executed the shot.
Golf Channel will be replaying that in the highlights later today.
That was phenomenal. You'll probably see a GIF of that somewhere along the line today.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree with you. It is slanted, and You
So
got
I
to be
think
careful.
you need big wins.
But they'll have opportunities for big wins.
And they also want their TV package to be worth more. So I think there's an argument for the commissioner going to Notre Dame and saying, hey, depending on how much a problem you guys have getting games, let us know. We'll move stuff around, and you can play teams in October, November.
BYU can get big games anytime they want. They can get 3 big games in non-conference if that's what they wanted. BYU, absolutely. They could play the toughest schedule every single year. If it was simply schedule, they could do that. They could play Notre Dame caliber teams out the yin-yang. They already showed that through independence. That's not going to change. That's easy for them to accomplish if that's the goal. The goal is to manage your schedule in an appropriate way. And I'm not saying don't play Notre Dame, but I'm not sure I want Notre Dame every single year to be a USC type thing. I just don't know you're going to come out ahead on that very often. How many times have they beaten Notre Dame as it is? And you can say, oh, yeah, their program's in better shape. They are, but so is Notre Dame's. You got to be careful. I'm not saying dismiss it completely.
I think they're 2-5 against Notre Dame.
You've got to be able, and then everybody's going to say, well, those are down years that Notre Dame lost. And I don't even remember the years, but that's going to be the perception. The perception for BYU has never changed. When they win, everybody thinks, because that big name team is in a down year or somebody was injured, something was up, except for Miami, something was up. So I wonder if you're going to get that big bang for the buck that you're going to claim. Whereas they're going to have 5 big games every year. There's at least Utah's always a big game, and it doesn't matter what the Utes are. And the Utes are usually pretty good, right? So that's one. And then if you want to get an at-large bid, you're most likely going to have to minimally get to the conference title game. So that's 2. Right there. So I got 2 huge games right there.
Do you think if Utah beats Arizona, it's the kind of win? It's game 2 this year. If BYU back. If BYU beats Arizona,
yes.
Do they get a ton of credit for that win, is it the win that gets to miss? Like Arizona, it's a nice team, but
I don't know why did the TV people who TV drives the sport? Why did they decide
because
it's going to be on 1:30?
Fafita's back and they're coming off their
right. So
pretty good
TV
season.
has told us this is a big game. Doesn't matter what I think. Argue with the TV people. TV has told us this is. I don't know if there is a but. TV has told us this is a big game.
Because in the past, TV has told us a big game. The season opener when BYU beat Oklahoma and Arlington was a big game. The season opener when BYU beat Texas A&M back in the 90s when Chad Lewis was playing. That was a big game. And then immediately, it's not a big game. Those go on the list of,
but this is a regularly scheduled game. Those games were, as you would say, the one-off deal. Mm-hmm. There's 9 of these babies, and they put it there right at the start. It was engineered to be there with the idea that it's going to be a big game. Now we've got BYU winning, and you're doing the very thing that I said everybody does about BYU.
Everybody does it. Right. I'm anticipating they're going to do it again. They did it to the U win last year. I thought the U win was a big win. You thought it was a big win, but the committee didn't think it was a big win.
Because they got slaughtered twice by Texas Tech. That's all they had to do was play Texas Tech close, and they couldn't do it.
So
same principle. So they'll do it again. So if we agree with this, but now when they play Notre Dame and lose 47-10, somehow that doesn't matter. And if they beat Arizona and Arizona then doesn't turn out to be what we thought, somehow BYU does that, and that's not going to count. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Both examples, yes, that's the knock on BYU. So why risk that every year? I don't know that BYU is going to be able to roll out 12 wins every season. It would be awesome if they did. And if they did do that, then it's also like the NCAA tournament in basketball. They like to say, well, it's just on this year. Bull crap. Your rep determines a large part if you get in, and your success in recent seasons determines what seed you get. Those are facts.
I think they need signature wins to get where
they'll
they
have
want
opportunities for them.
Where they get, and I'm just not convinced that the selection committee is going to look at any Big 12 win as a signature win. They're looking at any loss to devalue the signature win.
Well, then it's a one-game schedule. Then it's just Notre Dame. If you beat Notre Dame, that's all you got to worry about. That's highly unlikely.
I think they need the boost that comes with beating Notre Dame.
Sure.
And I think you have to risk the losses because they're probably going to shut you out anyway. So you've got to make the overwhelming case.
At 24, the Big 12 is going to get one team in.
If they go to 24,
you just said they were going to go to 24.
I think they will, but I don't know. But I don't know when. I mean, I know they're playing. Well, they're not doing it this year. Right. I think it's a good thing BYU is playing Notre Dame this year because I think it gives them a chance to get the big win.
But I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking about regularly scheduled. I'm looking ahead. I'm not talking about this year. I'm looking at it when it goes to 24. That's under my presumption, which you told me you think is going to happen. So
I do think
under the parameter of 24, I think they got to schedule wisely. Yeah, I stand by that. I think they have to because the chances at 24 are far greater. It's double. It's literally double that at 12. So you'll have plenty because at that point, you're going to let in a bunch of teams, and not all those teams are going to have these great wins over Notre Dame. So you probably don't need that. If you roll the Big 12, if it goes to 24, which going by your logic, it will, and your logic, I can't disagree with it. It's just too much money to leave on the table. You're going to have a much better chance the fewer losses you have. I don't think that the wins over whomever are going to matter as much the risk taking the loss.
My advice to Brian Santiago, as you spell this out, is schedule them now. And if you think you need to cancel some of them later, do it. But schedule now because
I thought Notre Dame doesn't honor contracts.
There's always a buyout. No.
Here we go.
There's always a buyout in there. You got to live by the buyout in the deal. Negotiate it with the buyout.
Or you do what Notre Dame does and move a game to Las Vegas.
Notre Dame can do that. They have
leverage. And I think that was fine for BYU.
It actually was a pretty good deal. One of the listeners, if you weren't with us early in the segment, said that they should sign 3-year deals, home, away, neutral, which might appeal to Notre Dame because they want to play all over the country anyway. And they know they'll sell it out. And Vegas is a great location. But if they can't play in L.A., BYU, Notre Dame in L.A., go down to SoFi. Go down to SoFi and play.
You mean if they can't play in Vegas, go to SoFi?
If they want to take a year off from playing in Vegas, and if they can't get a game in L.A., because now USC isn't playing Notre Dame for however long.
Notre Dame can't get a game.
Yeah, if Notre Dame can't get a game in L.A., BYU wants to play in L.A. too, just move a game to L.A.
Notre Dame can't. If Notre Dame desperately wanted to play a game in Los Angeles, they can get anybody to go there.
Right. So BYU, raise your hand first. And I think the other thing that we've left out of this, which we probably shouldn't, is the business side of it.
Yeah,
we've been talking playoff, which is the far more interesting side to us. But I go back to what Yormark said, or to what I said about Yormark. He should be calling Notre Dame and like, hey, if you need good games in October, November, I think play him. If you're going to beat the big boy, I know.
But SC begged off because they got too many games, and they don't want to have to travel again every other year.
Yep.
When they're doing all this travel.
Yeah.
So SC is telling us that's not something that we want to do.
Okay, but do we think SC is
bigger games
good enough, and they're playing bigger games, and they don't need
everybody needs a win over Notre Dame. But
right.
But the idea is, why risk it if you don't have to? That's the premise.
Well,
and when the thing goes to 24? 24. Is that what you're saying?
16 or 24. Right.
Okay. When it goes to 24, you're simply not going to need as many big wins in non-conference. You're not. It's the way it will be, because they're going to take – you have a chance then to finish third minimally in the Big 12 and still get in. So why risk it? At 24, I think it's potentially a risk that you don't necessarily need to take. This year, I'm not arguing this year. I'm talking about
this year
down the line.
It's worth the risk at 12. But at 24,
I think it is. Yeah, I agree with you.
We'll see if it's a 2 or 3 bid league or a 4 or 5 bid league. I mean, if it's a 4-bid league,
They got to have more than 2, man. At 24,
I would hope so. But we've been disappointed by college football and the way they treat our teams and our leagues and our side of the country before. So I'm open to being disappointed again.
Right,
but at 4 or 5 teams, the door is much more wide open.
And
it really is. I mean, you're right at that point.
Yeah,
you can get to 10-2. You give yourself 3 gimmies. You go 7-2 in league, and then you're there. Now, it'll be interesting to see if the demand and how this all works in the law of unintended consequences. Well, is it not good enough to get in, and you need to advance?
I wouldn't say 3 gimmies.
And you need a home game. No, I know what you mean. But you need a home game in the first round and a win, and then you can live with it. Because that's what we see in the basketball tournament, which is a pretty fair model to compare this to because it looks like where it's going. And why wouldn't it? That bus is being driven by the same people. There are teams that just have to get into the NCAA tournament. Your Lumberjacks and my Gauchos, if they get in, it's a big year. And they get their payment for 1 game, and it's awesome. High five, new contract for the coach, and away we go, right?
Yeah.
But then BYU's now at the place where getting in, well, it's good because it's a box you need to check because you don't want to not get in. But, hey, we're BYU. We got to be winning a game or 2. We got to be in the Sweet 16. And there are other schools like –
In what sport are we talking about?
Basketball, men's basketball.
Okay.
And there are other schools that are like Sweet 16. That's the minimum achievement. You want to be there because you don't want to be there. But Arizona, I mean, they just sit down at the start of every year. Can we get to the Final Four? We're at the point now where a regional final, that's good, and a Final Four is very good or great. And Sweet 16, that's just okay. That's not really it.
Agreed.
And they got coaches with flop sweat or worried about their jobs because they went out in the Sweet 16.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So where will the bar be? Will just getting in be good enough for the Big 12? I think it's funny we're arguing. I'm the one who tends to argue hey, figure out the system and backdoor it. I tend to argue that, and this time I'm not, and you are. And you tend to be the person who's like, be bold, go for it. If you're good enough, you can handle Notre Dame. It's the Irish. It'll pump up your regular season contract. It excites the kids who want to play there. The coaches relish it. You and I think have both had communication with people at BYU who are relishing the chance to play Notre Dame at home this year.
And they should be.
They don't think it's a slam dunk. They're not disrespecting Notre Dame, but they relish the opportunity.
It's golden.
Yes. Domer, see what you did?
I didn't mean to do that.
You can't help yourself. It's your greatness.
But with this year, with this team in Provo.
And a 12-team playoff.
So it's essentially a requirement.
The argument about backdooring a 24 is strong, but I can see where it's so strong everybody will try it, and then the bar will get moved. It's like, yeah, you're in, but you really need to get to the round of 16 or 8 to have a good season. Well, now you got to be seeded better. Now you need a home game. Now you better have a signature win like Notre Dame.
I don't know necessarily that you need to be seeded better.
You may not. We're taking a lot of...
Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out.
But the thing that we've learned doing this for a long time... The thing we've learned doing this a long time is you got to be aware of the law of unintended consequences. Changes come, and you think you can anticipate what they mean, and you're right, but there's usually unanticipated stuff that comes with it. And we've seen it in basketball. The bar gets moved back. For some schools, it's not about making the tournament. And for football, we'll get to the point where, it's already at 12. It's not about making the tournament for Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon is, win or bust, baby. They've been knocking on the door for so long. They've been not just in, but close. They played in the BCS era. They played for a title. The last 2 years, the only teams they've only lost 3 games, and all 3 have been to teams that won the championship later that year. You can make the argument they've been the second best team in football 2 years in a row.
You want to get in, but you want a better seed. Okay, but then we find out, the better seeds, they get knocked out because the other team last year you're making the argument the team that played ahead of them.
Yep.
So did they really want the better seed? Because the better seed, no, you want to play the game. So because you say if you take 2 weeks off, you've lost everything. You've made that argument. So do you really want the better seed? Because then,
when you get to 20 games between days, 20 days between games, 23, 26, whatever it's been, to me, that is too much.
Well, then you don't want a better seed?
But that scenario is going away.
I don't know it's going away.
Oh, you're right. I can't prove it either, but I firmly expect that they're going to condense this schedule because I think playing either the title game or the semis on January 1, not the quarters, is going to be the way to go in the future.
For all I know, they'll be playing in February.
Just the NFL.
And the NFL is going to move it back.
Yep.
So we'll need a game that week. The All-Star Pro thing doesn't work. No one watches it. No one gives a crap.
Nope.
So who knows? And maybe they'll start the season later. They were already the first and foremost an academic endeavor. That guy just rolled over his grave. And it never was an academic endeavor.
First and foremost, it's a cash endeavor.
Right.
Now, back in the day, it was about ADs and coaches getting contracts and extensions and TV networks making money. And now it's also about players getting big paydays and protecting themselves so that they're healthy for the next big payday if they're good enough to move on.
And the players transfer 3 times. They're really concerned about academics. It's a pro sport.
Yep.
It's a pro model sport. It's always been that way. And the great thing about all these freaking changes is now it's just far more out in the open and everybody can see it for what it is.
Facts.
Yeah. And that's the way it always was, but it was just kind of unspoken because it's not supposed to be this way. And the guy with the cardigan sweater who teaches in the history department, shut up. Nobody cares about what you have to say anymore.
I didn't know you yet. I didn't live in Utah yet.
That's your loss.
Obviously. I was in Santa Barbara, and I was working in the athletic department while I was in school, and it's when the NCAA
But you
tournament.
heard about guys like me.
And it's when the NCAA tournament goes to 64, and I saw a full-time staffer, not some student like me, but a full-time staffer talking to the AD, and they were both absolutely gawking and jaw-dropping because the payments for one NCAA tournament game were going to $300,000 plus. And they're like, we got a deficit in the athletic department. That would completely wipe it out. One game. And they're talking about the $300,000 free throw and all that. And those numbers seem, now one player gets that. I mean, the numbers, but it's always been about the money. The money's gotten bigger, but standing right there in the athletic department, they were talking about the math of it all and just blown away by how much money it was. It's never changed, except the money has gotten much, much bigger. DJ and PK coming up top of the hour. Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio. More trick shots from the pot bunkers of the Open Championship. We got any change at the top of the leaderboard? You can see the TV better than me.
Im and Brown.
Smalley had it at -5, then he
went backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, at 4? Yeah. All right. They're still playing, and they will be playing for another 5 or 6 hours. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. An update with Brian Taylor. Open Championship coming up in about 15 minutes. Andy Bailey analyzing Summer League as it winds down. 1 game to go, and we'll see who plays in it. Andy Bailey at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
They've been doing it for a while.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
The willingness to vault somebody to stardom and close the book on them immediately based on a couple of Summer League games is absolutely laughable. I think Cody has a lot to prove, but I'm certainly not going to let a Summer League alter my opinion on that until we actually see the rubber meet the road.
And to your point, Cody is not equipped to be the number 2 best player. And luckily for him, in the NBA, he never has to. He needs to be the 5th best player on the roster, doing some of the dirty work, get out in transition, get some steals, whatever you have to do. Get some deflections, play some defense, be long, eat up 12 to 15 minutes a night. Is that ideally what you want with the 10th overall pick? Of course not. That's not what you're hoping for when you draft somebody in the lottery. But if he can get to a point where he's hitting shots somewhat regularly and playing defense, there is still value there. And it's amazing to go back to that draft and just realize it's bad top to bottom.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got to ask Andy Bailey about this when he gets here at 9 o'clock. You put a question up. Should star players like LeBron retire as a great player or play past their prime? Amy, if I was a star player, I'd want to go out on top, but that rarely seems to happen.
Well, what is on top, though? I mean, the John Elway, you win it all at the end.
That's what I assume on top is.
You can't control that. I disagree on that. That's storybook. That's fairy tale.
Yes.
And it's also rarely. And I could argue that John Elway wasn't close to being on top when he went out.
The team was on top.
Right.
He individually was not what he had been.
And Peyton Manning.
But he was, Peyton Manning, even more obviously.
Right. He was throwing wounded ducks.
His shoulder, something happened. It was gone. He may have literally been carrying an injury that year, but he just could not throw the wiffle ball down the field. They did win. Their defense was outstanding and won the Super Bowl. It was his 4th trip to a Super Bowl and his 2nd title. So he got to go out on top as a team, although individually he didn't. Now, Barry Sanders is a classic example of he went out on top as an individual, but his team didn't. So when you say go out on top in these team sports, and you're right, it's hard to control a sport like football. You know, you can be Josh Allen and go down and take the lead with 13 seconds left and still lose the game. Well, you did your job.
I don't think you need to go out on top, but the idea that you go out with still having a level of greatness.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think LeBron still has a level of greatness.
But
he's
then
getting
it
right.
gets seedy and tawdry with him switching teams.
It does. The thing he's got going for him is he's always switched teams. Like if Steph Curry switched teams, it'd raise eyebrows. And it has for other people. Malone with 1 year with the Lakers, and Akeem Olajuwon went to Toronto, and Patrick Ewing went to Seattle.
Yeah, but they went to multiple
weird.
teams.
It all
Leonard Carrier got away with it as 1 year. And everybody knew he had stuff left in the tank, but he still stepped aside.
Whereas Shaq did like 5 teams in 6 years or something. Yeah, what are we doing here?
And LeBron as a role player? You want to see great players as role players.
LeBron, as of last year, could still average 20 points in a regular season. He could average 20 points in the playoffs. I think it was actually 23.
Yeah, but that's role player for him.
And he could win a playoff series.
That's role player for him.
He has receded from high tide. He's still within sight. And it's okay so far. It hasn't gotten embarrassing.
You don't know what.
But in any given,
he misses all these games.
But in any given year, and he's been doing that for 5 years, but so is everybody else in the league. So he's still within sight of it. But to your point, he doesn't know what year. You know, some of those pools have that ledge where you step and suddenly the pool's like 4 feet deeper. He's approaching a place where that's going to happen to him at some point. Now, I could be wrong because I thought
if he steps aside.
I thought the same thing was going to happen to Brady, and he pushed it to 45, and the team wasn't as good, but he was still pretty good. So maybe he'll negotiate it
every time.
I know, right? But
do you want to see him be a role player?
But LeBron's gone through
for
life
the Sixers,
thinking I'm the exception because I'm that good. Brady
they
went
all
through
think
it.
that.
Brady went through it. I'm the exception.
Charles Barkley talked about this. This is what spurred the question. Is he said, I was going to get myself in best shape, and I was going to do this and this and this. And then I got out there, and then I saw, oh, my gosh, I'm not 25.
Yeah.
So they all think that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what Stockton was running around getting his brains beat in at 40. He thought it. And then Mike Bibby's dominating him.
And they don't have the self-awareness that Barkley seems to have had. Like,
he had it 25 years later.
Now he can say it.
Yeah.
Well, he stepped aside, or did he take the beating?
He
did a whole year taking the beating?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the risk that LeBron's playing with fire, that one of these years he could be out there taking a beating.
He's going to be a role player either way. He's not going to be the number one option. All the attention isn't going to be on him.
Right.
And for 20 years, all the attention was on him. And so now, do I want to see him in his way? Sure, his hanger-oner is not the same as Cody Williams' hanger-oner. We understand that. But Cody Williams isn't anything close to a star. He may not even be an NBA player in 2 years. Who knows? Hopefully he is for his sake. But for LeBron, do I want to see him be just another guy in the star sense? Not just another guy in everybody's sense, but another guy in the star sense. That's the essence of the stars. And do I really want to see that? And when I say it's the collective fan.
Yeah, right. But I think also just for me, just for myself, I thought he was good enough this past year that I would be interested and I would watch if he went to Cleveland. It's got the whole homecoming thing, and they were close, and he's still good enough. And you're right, that it'll be a role. It won't be overwhelming. Rebuild the team around me because he's past that point in his career. But I would watch that, and I'd be interested in it. If he goes to Miami, I don't have any interest in it.
It's not about a question of whether he's going to draw viewership no matter what. But is it?
But even that will wane over time.
Is it going to be what we're looking for? Should a star do that?
A star's got to win at a pretty high level to keep drawing those eyeballs.
And they don't.
And I think we've seen that. Like, Deion Sanders has tremendous star power, but he doesn't have the pull at Colorado now that he had when he went there. And there are reasons he can't control with the health and having, serious health challenge and having to miss, all the offseason last year. But nonetheless, people want to see wins.
Yeah, but that was going to wane anyway. Nobody turns in to watch a coach. That was just a
if they're winning 8 or 9 games, I think people still tune in to watch him in Colorado. And college coaches are weird. That's the one
8
place.
games to watch Colorado win
College
8
sports
games.
is the one place people tune in and watch Krzyzewski for years and watch Saban for years.
If
because the
Krzyzewski
product
was
stays,
coaching at Northern Arizona, nobody would be watching it.
You're right, but the coach is the sign that the project is really good because Krzyzewski and Saban always win. But now we know Deion doesn't always win. Deion wins sometimes. One year he does, one year he doesn't.
When he has good players.
Yeah.
I don't tune in to watch Deion. He stands there on the sideline and looks like everybody else.
He does.
If you want to watch Deion, watch the post game.
That's when you're more likely to see a show or the social media in the offseason. That's when he goes full prime time and puts on the show.
Right.
But during the game, he's business.
Right. He looks like every other coach out
Which
there.
we respect, but at the same time, you're like, but it's not that big a show.
I think the public likes to see stars go out with as close to their prime as possible, understanding that you don't have to win the very last game in June or February or whatever it is.
I thought he was still good enough last year. How far is he going to fall this year? And every year he decides to play, he rolls the dice on that because Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, but it was good enough. They had no chance.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron having no chance. Is that really good enough?
No, and that's why I said if he goes to Miami, I think he has no chance, and it doesn't really interest him. I mean, if he goes to Cleveland, I think he does have a chance, and he play a big enough role. I mean, you're right. He wouldn't be the star, but he wasn't the star in L.A. I mean, that's why he's leaving. Doncic is the star now. They're building around Doncic. They're not going to build around LeBron.
Yeah, but Doncic didn't play.
He's in his 40s.
In the playoffs.
Right, and LeBron's still good enough to be the
good enough for what?
To be the best guy
on
and win a
team
playoff
that has
series.
no chance.
To be the best guy on a team that wins a playoff series.
That's not good enough for the GOAT that a lot of people claim he's the GOAT, and he was good enough to win a first-round series. That bar is so freaking low at that point. That's not good enough.
Then you want him to retire. I'm okay if he goes to Cleveland. I don't want to see him in Miami. I'd rather him retire than go to Miami. Doesn't interest me. Philly does interest me. They have so much talent. It could be a complete mess. It could totally go sideways, and he's got to gauge that. And that's why he's got to talk with these guys. You know, who's going to sacrifice for the team? It can't be, hey, my turn, because that's just not going to work. It never does. So he'll have to figure that out, and that's presumably what he's doing right now. All right, DJ and PK, we can run that past Andy Bailey. He's going to join us 1 hour from now. He's also going to talk to us about, we'll talk with him about how Darren Peterson has performed and how the top 4 guys have performed in Summer League, and if he's got any new opinions on these guys. DJ and PK coming up next, the Open Championship. Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio. Stay with us.
We all have routines. I'm Jabron, and with diabetes, mine was finger sticks. Sometimes I skip them because they hurt. The Freestyle Libre 3CGM changed that. It gives me glucose insights without finger sticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
Finger sticks are required if your glucose alarms or readings do not match symptoms, or when you see check blood glucose symbol for the first 12 hours. The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.